Hindi pa naman humihinga. Nga, RTVM. Buka na tayo. Okay, stand by. Good morning, Malacañang Press Corps and guests. Welcome sa press briefing ni Presidential Spokesperson Ernesto Abella.
Good morning. We're fortunate to have today as our resource person the first chairman of the Philippine Competition Commission, Dr. Arsenio Balisacan. He is an economist with extensive high-level policy-making practice and a well-recognized expert in Asia on economic development, poverty and inequality, political economy of policy reforms. Prior to his appointment as chairman of the PCC in January 2016, he served as the Economic Planning Secretary since 2010 and concurrently the Director General of the National Economic and Development Authority. Chairman Balisacan is from the UP, holds a PhD in economics from University of Hawaii, a master's in agriculture economics from UPLB. It is going to be the first anniversary of PCC tomorrow, and I believe the chairman is going to explain to us that PCC is not about sports. Please.
Thank you, Secretary Abella, for giving us this privilege to formally introduce to our friends from the media, as well as to the public, this relatively new government agency I now represent, the Philippine Competition Commission, or PCC. For those here who might be hearing about the Philippine Competition Commission for the first time, let me tell you first what it's not. I think Secretary Abella preempted that. Some people think that we are a sports governing body, and in the beginning, we are often asked what competitive events we regulate. It shows that in the Philippines, the public and our businesses are not used to the idea that commerce could be regulated for the purpose of promoting market competition. This is our task in the PCC, promoting fair competition in Philippine markets. It is important to zero in on why our work matters in the grand scheme of the development agenda of the President. When there are safeguards for market competition, economic growth is more rapid and sustainable, as the pressure of competition enhances efficiency and productivity growth in all businesses, industries, or areas of the country. Greater productivity of businesses means that Filipinos benefit through higher incomes from having more and better quality jobs. When businesses compete, consumers benefit further through lower prices, better quality of goods and services, and more choices in markets. Protecting market competition will grow the economy, and it will make this growth more poverty-reducing and inclusive. Competition law and policy applies to all industries and all businesses, big and small. It is in place to provide a level playing field, protecting consumers and businesses from anti-competitive conduct. For example, when business associations that control a large share of a market agree to fix their prices at a high level, they are confident that no competitor will come along to offer lower prices. Or when dominant market players buy out smaller, innovative, and thriving companies only to close them down for the purpose of eliminating competition. or when competitors conspire to offer artificially high bids on a government contract, agreeing beforehand on who will win the bid. All this behaviors lead to higher prices for consumers and to market conditions that are inhospitable to entrepreneurs and small and medium enterprises. And all these behaviors are now against the law. Republic Act 10667 or the Philippine Competition Act regulates all these behaviors. It was enacted in July 2015, passed after 24-year battle in Congress. The Philippines was one of the last countries in the ASEAN region to have an antitrust law. The PCC is the agency mandated with promoting fair competition among companies across various industries to safeguard the welfare of Filipino consumers. Anti-competitive agreements, such as cartels, where companies that should be competing with each other instead collude to share the market or manipulate prices. Price fixing, where competitors, even in the context of trade associations, agreed to a common price at which to sell to their customers. And bid rigging, where competing bidders conspire to offer only high prices and agreeing beforehand on who will win the bid. Abuse of dominant market position, where companies which command a market abuse their dominance to stamp out or exclude any competitors. Anti-competitive mergers and acquisitions. Here we look out for mergers and acquisitions that may substantially prevent, restrict, or lessen competition in the market. Monopolies, duopolies, and similar market structures are also on our radar. Market dominance may not be prohibited per se, but the law prohibits abusing one's market power to restrict or lessen competition. Our mandated functions include, among others, the review of large mergers and acquisitions, investigation and rendering of decisions on antitrust cases, conduct of market studies and competition-related research, issuance of expert opinion, recommendations, and advisories on matters related to competition. As the country's antitrust body, we endeavor to crack down on cartels, break up monopolies, penalize and fine companies that are found guilty of anti-competitive behaviors. The PCC has been in existence for exactly 1 year tomorrow. We are all invited to our anniversary. We are, in fact, celebrating our first anniversary in February 1, and these are our accomplishments so far. For mergers and acquisitions, we have received and acted upon 80 notifications worth about 1.7 trillion pesos as of January 30, 2017. And we have maintained a zero backlog on merger reviews. In competition enforcement, we have 8 referrals for possible anti-competitive conduct in various industries. We have also issued 4 procedural guidelines in relation to enforcement and review of mergers, and are currently in the process of writing many more guidelines as we prepare for the end of the law's transitory period in August of this year. As you may know, the ongoing case we have involving the telco duopoly, PLDT and Globe, struck a chord with consumers who, together with the current administration, is demanding better internet services for lower prices. To give you an update as to where we are in the case, so far, 2 rulings from the Court of Appeals have been in our favor, and 2 other rulings were in the favor of the telcos. We now await a decision from the Court of Appeals to determine if we can finally move forward with our legally mandated review of this telco deal. Overall, we are optimistic that 2017 will be a banner year for the Commission as we strengthen linkages with other government agencies and key regulatory bodies. For the first time in the country's socioeconomic planning history, a full chapter on national competition policy has been included in the recently drafted Philippine Development Plan 2017-2022. This is a strong indication that fair market competition is considered a key pillar in the Duterte administration's development strategy. Background work for the chapter on competition was initiated by the PCC in coordination with the National Economic and Development Authority through a comprehensive study which maps the whole competition landscape, the National Competition Policy Review. We expect the study's completion within the first quarter of the year. Under this review, PCC will identify priority sectors or industries that are afflicted by or vulnerable to anti-competitive behavior and recommend remedies to dismantle market structures that are harmful to consumers and the country's economy. One of these remedies is the lifting of restrictions on foreign participation in certain industries like utilities and infrastructure. We are also reviewing government policies, regulations, and administrative issuances that may constrain competition. There are many instances where we have found that the anti-competitive environment comes from existing government rules rather than the conduct of the firms. In cases such as those, the PCC would work with the regulatory agencies to change rules, making them pro rather than anti-competition. We have 7 months left before the transitory period of the Philippine Competition Act ends in August of this year. Our biggest challenge ahead is informing and educating the public on the provisions of the law so that businesses are informed about their compliance obligations and the public is aware of the practices that are illegal and should be brought to the attention of the PCC. The Competition Act is a game changer for the Philippine economy. With the PCC as its main enforcer, we intend to leverage the powers vested in us by this law to hasten economic growth and enable the spread of this growth to all Filipinos. We look forward to the cooperation of our stakeholders, the business community, the consumers, our partner government agencies, and of course you, our friends in media, in helping us reach our strategic vision of creating a culture that promotes market competition. Thank you very much.
Malacañang press corps, questions? Chonayu? Microphone, please. Thank you. Thank you, PM.
Sir, tanong ko lang, ano yung thin line between PCC sa DTI? Parang it seems that you have the same mandate dun sa fair consumer, mga ganun.
No, DTI is, insofar as markets are concerned, leads in the development of competitiveness concerns or addressing competitiveness concerns, and also in monitoring, say, prices, consumer prices in particular, basic goods and services. The lens of the Competition Commission is focused on competition, meaning the how markets perform in relation to the prices that consumers pay, the quality of the goods they offered to them, and the variety of those goods. So we are not concerned about specific firm per se, but we are looking at the operations of market, that this the structure of the market is or works in the interest of consumers and for economic development. So to summarize, we are not looking at we do not go to the sari store or to the wet market to look at prices there, but we have a different instruments, tools like conducting market studies to identify the structure of the market and for us to understand what how markets behave and why they behave the way they do. If they are behaving like a cartel, we would want to find out what's making that possible and break that through other powers vested in us, those that are contributing to the formation of the cartel.
Dexter Ganibia, DZMM.
Ay, Commissioner, good noon. Dexter po sa DZMM. Sir, yung sa PCC, katulad din po ba siya ng DTI na tumatanggap kayo ng mga reklamo about dun sa competition?
There are three ways by which cases can be initiated at PCC. One is any interested entity like you or any person could file a verified complaint to us on behavior and conduct of certain entities. These are businesses. The second one is for another government agency or even a regulator, regulatory body to refer cases to us to investigate, to review, and act accordingly. And the third is that based on our on the information that we are receiving and based on what the media has been discovering and our own investigation or market studies, we can motu proprio undertake the review.
Sumagi na po ba sa PCC yung competition sa mga oil companies sa pagpepresyo ng mga oil products na madalas binabanggit na nagkakaroon ng cartel na sila lang yung nag-uusap?
Yeah, we have been that thing a case has not been filed or initiated, but that's in our radar. We are reading that, for example, cases in Mindanao where there are allegations that there may be some anti-competitive practices there in relation to the pricing of oil.
So may pwede bang magsagawa ng motu proprio investigation ng PCC dyan, sir?
We can do that, yeah. Our approach right now, as I said, is that we want to first scan the whole environment, competition landscape, and that we are doing through the National Competition Policy Review that I mentioned. And we prioritize our resources because our resources are very limited, and those areas where we see competition or a competition issue can impact so much on the welfare of our people.
Follow up lang po. Saang stage na po kayo doon sa ganong sinasagawang investigation, doon sa sinasabing pricing ng oil? Particularly sa Mindanao.
We have, as I said, we have many cases. For example, for the mergers and acquisitions. In the case of mergers and acquisitions kasi, what we do is we examine whether a merger or an acquisition by another party can potentially or substantially impact on competition and restrict competition. Now, in other cases where there are already existing practices like cartel or abuse of dominant positions, there we also have a number of cases already and in various stages of review and analysis. Unfortunately, because of the quasi-judicial nature of the commission, we could not speak specifically about these cases, particularly what industries, what what firms, because this could compromise our capacity or ability to undertake investigation. For example, when we announce that a certain party is being investigated or examined by us, they might destroy the evidence before we get there. No? That's the constraint that we face.
Laila Salaveria, Inquirer.
Good morning, sir. Sir, there's a recent AIM study saying that under the current setup, there's little incentive for telecom firms to lower their prices and improve their service and infrastructure. So, sir, what do you think could be done to address the situation, and what should be done to hasten the entry of more players in the industry?
Yeah, that's precisely the very nature of the current case. As I said earlier, when Globe and PLDT acquired the San Miguel Corporation telco assets, the commission came forward to assert its mandate to review that merger. But before we can complete the review, we were stopped. The telco parties went to the court to stop us from finishing or completing the review. That's where we are. I can, unfortunately, as I said, I can speak on the specifics of the case because of, that could. But having said that, we at the commission will not stop or will not even are in fact encouraged by this development to work harder to make sure that we improve the competition landscape in this country. And as the numbers have shown, we have gone far beyond the telco case. We have many other cases now. We are also strengthening the Competition Commission. We are hiring people. We have not still have a lot of people to hire, including some media communication experts. I'm not hiring from the OP, but that's where we are.
Isa na lang. You're going up against big businesses. Does the PCC need stronger powers, or
The law that created PCC has given that power that we can go after big firms that are behaving anti-competitively. We have been given the power to look at remedies, pursue remedies to address the problem, including splitting big companies if there is a need for that. But let me also explain or note that bigness per se is not necessarily prohibited, no? In the law. That bigness in some cases may be a necessary thing for efficiency, for prices to go down. And so what we are watching at are practices, conduct of businesses, firms that work the other way. It's not for the improvement of efficiency, but to make the economy less efficient by hindering competition, thereby making prices higher and limiting the availability of goods to consumers.
Okay, thank you, Laila. Last two, Marlon and then Ina Andolong, CNN Philippines.
Good morning, sir. I'm sure you did not review the Miss Universe competition yesterday. or did you?
That's not a market for us.
Sir, without mentioning any specific companies, which industries are prone to the control of cartels?
In the
Besides telcos and the oil.
in the experiences of many countries, utilities are vulnerable. Um, um, some sectors in industry are also quite vulnerable. Again, looking at the cases we find in Africa, in Latin America, for example, we see the cases filed by competition or handled by competition authorities and such industry as pharmaceutical, cement, and so on. But our approach, as I mentioned earlier, to the enforcement of the competition law is to undertake to complete this national competition policy review, which will serve as our guidance in identifying those sectors that we want to prioritize on, because those sectors might have the most impact and or might have so much influence on the performance of the economy and on the welfare of our people.
How about the roads, toll operators? Do you also review?
It's also so far we don't have that case, but the law doesn't exempt any particular sector or industry. All commerce, all businesses are covered, and so when a case is filed that there is an allegation of anti-competitive conduct in that particular sector, we are obliged to, we would act accordingly.
Sir, before the creation of PCC, how does the government ensure that no cartels would be controlling industry?
Well, there are so many agencies, no, vested with certain powers that influence their respective sectors, no, but these have been quite ineffective in the sense that you want to ensure that there is consistency and that the impact of a government action is fairly understood. You need to have a lens that look at those sectors quite independently. I think what's the problem with some of our regulators is that they're playing too many roles. They are a regulator and at the same time they are producer of services. They compete with the private sector. So they're the policemen, they're the judges, they are the trial lawyers at the same time. You know? So it's very difficult to to come up with a decision that really work for competition as such and for looking at the efficiency angle.
Okay. Ina Andulong?
Hi, sir. Sir, the President has time and again, sir, I'm here, has time and again warned that he will open up the ICT sector to boost competition and eventually boost or improve internet speed. Can you tell us of any moves that may have been taken already to really make this happen?
We welcome that development, and we are quite indeed happy that the administration is taking actions on what has been identified by many research results in over the years, no? And what has been constraining investment and rapid growth, particularly inclusive growth in this country, no? And one of these is often cited as the very restrictive nature of our economic environment with respect to participation of foreign entities, no, in the economy. And in the National Competition Policy Review that I earlier indicated, we mentioned there that we'll be looking at each of the sectors. We'll be identifying the specific circumstances that have prevented the sectors from becoming competitive, becoming efficient, becoming driver of growth, and act accordingly. Because in some cases, it may not be, the problem may not be just the absence of competition from a foreign entity, but there may be some other constraints.
Yeah, Leila asked this a while ago. She talked about the lack of incentives. What specific incentives are you looking at or studying for possible new entrants in the ICT sector or telco sector?
Well, the incentives per se or granting of incentives, that's not our mandate. But in fact, our look is our lens would be focused into how granting of such incentives could impact on competition.
Yeah.
Because if that incentives come at the expense of a potential rival or a competitor, that's anti-competitive and will be that would be under the lens of the PCC, and will accordingly take action.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you, Ina. Last question, Dexter Ganibe.
Sir, very short lang. Madalas nating marinig sa Pangulo yung pag-uplift ng buhay ng ating mga kababayang nasa kanayunan, at isa nga sa pinaka-apektado ay yung ating mga magsasaka dahil sa napakataas na presyo ng mga fertilizer. Dumating na po ba sa radar ng PCC na maimbestigahan din itong nagtataas ang presyo ng ating mga
When it
fertilizer?
comes to fertilizer, no, not yet.
Agricultural products.
Agricultural products, there was a case filed to us, but more in relation to importation of rice, but our earlier I mentioned that our position at this point is to complete the review so that we can have a broader perspective on the state of competition in the various sectors of the economy. Again, various researchers, including myself, have identified anti-competitive practices, measures in agriculture, and we need to look at those closely. In that chapter that I was referring to, agriculture is noted as one of the sectors that would have to be prioritized on.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Chairman of Philippine Competition Commission, Arsenio Balisacan, Presidential Spokesperson, Ernesto Abella.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Secretary.
Thank you for correcting my error. It's Arsenio Balisacan. Okay. All right. We'd like to continue on more positive note, continually positive note. The DSWD has conducted pilot activity for the reintegration of drug surrenderees in the community. Last January 27, Department of Social Welfare and Development coordinated with the local government unit LG of Talisay, Batangas, which led the conduct of Linis Bayan. The Linis Bayan, or Community Cleanup Drive, is a pilot activity of the DSWD that aims to reintegrate drug surrenderees in the community by involving them in activities that will have a positive impact on their barangays. The department aims to have the activity replicated in other cities and municipalities. Other than drug surrenderees, the cleanup drive was also participated in by community volunteers, DSWD Pantawid Pamilyang Pilipino Program for Peace beneficiaries, barangay officials, and staff. DSWD Field Office has also provided ready-to-eat meals for the event's participants. Also, in Tawi-Tawi, 1 billion peso infra projects are seen to boost the Tawi-Tawi economy. About $1 billion worth of infrastructure projects and infrastructure support programs has been implemented by the Department of Public Works and Highways of the Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao in Tawi-Tawi last year. As an update, many of the major infrastructure projects have been completed while several others are ongoing and nearing completion, according to DPWH Armed Secretary Don Mustafa Long, who visited Tawi-Tawi on January 24. Among the completed or nearly completed projects are the concreting of roads, rehabilitation of some roads, fish landing sites, and the construction of deep wells, and the construction of a 50-meter Roro berthing slot at the Bongao Port. Also, we welcome the results of the fourth quarter 2016 Social Weather Station survey, showing that people's sentiment that there was a decline in crime victimization. Specifically, the results indicated that families who said they were victimized and lost property to street robbery, burglary, or carnapping registered at 4.5%, previously surpassing the previous quarterly record of 5.5% in March and June 2015. The same survey likewise discloses that 52% of respondents agreed that the presence of many drug addicts in their neighborhood has declined compared to 56% in the previous quarter. We will take a few questions.
Laila Salaveria.
Good morning, sir.
Morning.
Sir, on the decision to suspend the anti-drug operations,
Yes.
has the government given the order to re-examine previous instances where previous police operations where drug suspects were killed to check if the suspects were killed in a legitimate encounter? Because I understand you want to clean up the police force.
Yes. So the question is there
Has the order
investigation?
been given to re-examine previous drug-related killings?
The IAS continues to do the internal work. So the process is ongoing. Thank you.
Sir, since the drug operations are suspended, what would happen now to the drug situation in the country? Because as the
No,
to
I
hear-
think we need to make a correction. The impression is that it stopped. No. What happens is the local police, the PNP, has been asked to desist from engaging in anti-drug operations, but the operations itself will continue under the PIDEA.
under the PIDEA. But there will, since the PIDEA doesn't have that many people, there will expectedly be the scaling down of the operations. Is there a concern that the drug trade will flourish? Or?
Nothing is official yet, but I believe that the forces will be supplemented. There's another through another process. The president himself is, it's not yet official, but the police forces will be supplemented by through another project coming up.
Do we know what this project is?
It's not yet official as far as I know, but the Philippine Constabulary may be
PNP.
reactivated.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. Pia, follow up.
Sir, on this news that the PC might be reactivated, so where are we in this process? You said it's not yet official. So, what would you know when an announcement will be
There's
made
no
and what
timeline
process?
there's no
on-
timeline regarding that, except that we do know that first and foremost, as referring to the question about the police, it will be transferred to the PIDEA. And regarding the whether they have enough forces, then I was giving just an insight. It's not yet official. It that it may be, the PIDEA may be supplemented by.
Sir, when you're saying not yet official, this was discussed during the Joint Command Conference, but
Yes.
not yet officially
Yes,
announced.
yes.
It was floated as a possibility by the President himself. Is that right?
It was referred to, yes,
By the President.
yes.
Marlon, follow up.
Sir, also on the suspension of Oplan Tokhang.
Yes.
Immediately after the President and PNP Chief Ronald De La Rosa ordered us a temporary stop to Oplan Tokhang. Last night, there was no reported death during the operation or even vigilante killings. Is it a coincidence?
Which?
No, last night, walang napatay, even by vigilante-style killings, summary execution.
Are you asking if it's a?
If is it just a coincidence or does it kasi there had been impressions or insinuations that policemen are actually behind these killings, the vigilante style killings. Yung in order ng presidente and the PNP chief, immediately after wala talagang napatay na ganong klase under questionable circumstances. Is that coincidence?
I think that's verging on just opinion making. I don't have any statements regarding that.
Okay, follow-up question?
Yes. During the Joint Command Conference, after that, the president said that he's offering 5 million for the capture dead or alive of Superintendent Dumlao. And
Yes.
immediately after, sinabihan siya ni PNP chief that Dumlao is actually in custody. He also mentioned about the U.S. military bringing in arms and unloading it sa 3 points in Luzon. But the AFP yesterday denied that such information. Did the president and the military officials, the PNP official, discuss these things during the Joint Command Conference? Kasi it seems the president was actually clueless about those two things.
I think the word is not clueless. I think he was saying that if you go back to the transcript, I think I think it does make clear that he was saying that he will not allow if there is any downloading of arms into and he would also not allow the building of depots. So, which would be tantamount to building permanent structures which are not allowed under EDCA. So basically, he was. If you check the context of the statements, it was that he was saying he would not allow it if it were to happen.
Pardon me, sir, but I think the president categorically said that the American soldiers are unloading. They're unloading arms. And they're making these areas as their warehouse or depots.
Well, I would say that the context of his statement was based on the in the early part of that press con that he said that he would not allow it.
So those two things were not discussed during the command conference, sir.
It was not discussed in detail as far as I know.
Okay,
sir. Thank you.
inaandolong. Oplan Tokhang ka ba, Joseph? Balik muna tayo sa Oplan Tokhang.
All right.
Sir, you mentioned that it will be the PDEA who's going to be the lead agency, no? To
As
conduct
far as the press con was, as far as the directives were given during the press con.
All right, in an operational sense, can you describe to us what's going to happen? Kasi paano yung magiging operations na sa mga gabi or...
I'm not privy to the operations. However, the line of authority is that operations along these lines will be done through PDEA.
All right, so intel gathering also sa PDEA na yun and all that?
Well, it all depends on how they work it out, but definitely the operations will not be under PNP, it will be under PDEA.
All right. Sir, sa PC, I think the president did say before that he's amenable to parang reviving it.
Yes, yes.
And I understand that during the joint press conference, that was discussed.
It was mentioned again, yes.
Can you tell us, sir, the thought process of the president as far
Well,
as
basically,
reviving it?
from where he's coming from, it's really, his main concern is really anti-corruption. And he says that those who are the Philippine Constabulary would be composed of gentlemen from the armed forces and from the military, which would be different from the PNP. So he's basically saying that they would be, in a sense, a more trustworthy organization, seeing that they have not been, they are not civilian run like the PNP, but run by authority under the armed forces.
And the job will be
The job will be
of the PC?
will be to, as far as I know, it will be since it assumes that the if and when this comes into operation, the PNP would be localized and the PC would be like a more national in scope.
And
Thank you, Joseph.
can the PC also handle the anti-drugs operations in the future?
I don't know how it will. I don't know how it will converge, However, they could, I'm saying, they could be part of the supplemental, they could supplement the PIDEA.
Sir, as an idea, how much in percentage is this nearing being formed?
I do not have, I cannot quantify.
All right, sir. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Joseph Deo de Guzman, to be followed by Ross Cos, UNTV.
Magandang umaga, sir.
Yes.
Just one simple question. Kasi sabi niyo PIDEA ang magiging lead agency to handle drugs operation. Okay, sir. Paano po tayo nakatitiyak na malinis ang hanay ng PIDEA? And paano naman po yung operations nito on a national sense? Dahil kung isipin natin, napakalaki po ng drug operation sa ating bansa. And to think PIDEA is just parang kokonti lang yung tao nila. Paano po niya maililid yung anti-drug war ng administration with its number, at paano po tayo makatitiyak na walang katiwalian o walang madumi sa hanay ng PIDEA?
I think we just need to trust the process. You just need to trust the process that that the operations will be more regulated, continually be regulated, but we just have to trust the process.
Hindi po ba hihingi ng tulong ang PIDEA sa AFP or kukuha ng kaunti man lang tao sa PNP just to augment its power or its manpower?
They may do any of the suggestions you have made, but that's not part of the discussion that took place.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank
Thank
you, Deo. Ross Cos, to be followed by Dexter, and then Ace. Last topic on Oplan Tokhang.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Nabanggit po ng Pangulo na 40% po ng mga tauhan ng pulisya ay tiwali at marami rin po sa kanyang narcolist ay mga tauhan ng pulisya.
Yes.
Ano po ang masasabi ng Malacañang sa mga nagsasabi na maaari ding nagkaroon ng maling pagtaya ang administrasyon ng unahing ipatupad ang Oplan Tokhang kaysa linisin ang hanay ng pulisya?
Well, let's put it this way: in the same way that the drug problem was. In the same way that the drug problem was the depth and breadth of the drug problem was undiscovered until he came into the process. The president simply started the whole process of police operations, assuming that although he did sense that there was corruption within the police organization. But he had to do something, and he began that way. So all these insights and opinions seem wiser in hindsight. But the president had to act and did act, and he enforced his political will. And now we're seeing actually that there really is corruption within the police organizations.
Okay, thank you, Ross. Dexter?
Sir, magandang hapon.
Yes.
Sir, tama ba pagkakaintindi ko, yung Oplan Tokhang ay PNP-led operation
Yes.
anti-drug?
Yes.
Hindi po ba nasa batas, nasa charter ng PIDEA na lahat ng mga anti-drug operations ay supervisor under ng PIDEA? Yung pag-i-stop ngayon ng PNP, hindi ba nakita na may pagkakamali or merong something na butas na maaring ma-question nga, na which is meron ng nag-question ngayon sa Korte Suprema na ang batas na nagsasabi ay PIDEA ang on top sa lahat ng mga anti-drug operations?
When the president started, he installed the PNP director De La Rosa, and he was the one who was engaged in the Oplan Tokhang. So now that it seems that those who are in order to avoid any of the any of the apparent corrupt activities of certain personalities within the organization, he has now transferred it to PIDEA. Regarding the precedence, whether it should have been PNP or PIDEA, let's leave it to them.
Thank you, Dexter. Ace Romero?
Yusek,
Yes.
was the proposal to revive the PC discussed during the LEDAC meet?
Hindi siya nabanggit. Hindi siya nabanggit because but that comes under some of the items. But the LEDAC simply covered the proposed agendas and the proposed legislative agendas and the proposed presidential agendas. But since it will, there's going to be more regular meetings, it will be covered one of these days.
So magiging part ng priority bills ng Duterte administration yung revival ng PC.
It's going to come under one of his items, yes.
Okay. Yung setup po na kino-consider ngayon, para lang maintindihan po namin. So, magiging under yung PC ng AFP uli gaya nung dati.
We don't know the exact structure yet. It's simply been floated. The idea was floated that it will be revived, but the exact structure is not yet complete. Yes.
Has the President discussed this with lawmakers? At kung yes, sino na yung magpupush ng bill na to?
I suppose it's going to be discussed under the LEDAC and probably under the Congress.
Okay, thank you, Ace. Oplan pa rin. Other issue na? Okay.
Sir, may petition po sa Supreme Court, yung I think Quezon City Police District Station 6, questioning a writ of amparo sa Supreme Court. And should the Supreme Court issue a writ later, hindi ba yun, sir, pre-empt nyo na yan by stopping the Oplan Tokhang? Was it, in other words, was the stopping of the Tokhang an effort to preempt the Supreme Court from ruling on any legality of the Tokhang in the future?
I don't know if that was the motivation, but certainly it was. If that is going to be the effect, then. But that I'm not privy if that was the actual intention.
Okay, thank you, Joseph. Ina? Other issue na.
Sir, this is on the U.S. depot. So, sir, where did the president get his information that the depots actually exist? Because apart from the AFP denying it, the U.S. Embassy has also issued a statement saying that no such arms depot exists and there are no plans to build any.
In which case, it's something that if your question is where he got the information, I cannot tell you that. But he seems to be privy to some sort of information.
Could the president be referring to the facilities that are set to be built by the U.S. in a number of Philippine bases already? Because days ago, si Secretary Lorenzana naman confirmed that facilities, yun yung term niya, will be built this year as part of EDCA. And coincidentally, some of the bases include yung bases in Pampanga, Palawan,
mentioned three,
and
yes.
CDO, which were also identified by the president.
Yes.
Yun ba yung sinasabi niya, yung facilities?
I cannot say for sure, but they seem to be identical with what SecDel may mention too.
Yeah, because Secretary Lorenzana said in that briefing that the president is aware of the plan to build facilities.
That's
and
right.
that he is okay with it. So that is somewhat contrary to what he said in the press conference naman days ago.
Well, he may have come upon other information, which may have affected his later comments.
So right now, he does not want, even those yung facilities na sinasabi ni
He
Secretary
says he will not
Lorenzana.
allow any downloading of arms.
Okay, because Secretary Lorenzana described these facilities
Yes.
as an area storage din naman ng weapons nila.
Correct.
So hindi matutuloy yung facilities na yon.
I don't know. I don't know about. I cannot say that. That's not what he mentioned. Kasi he said he would not allow. And besides, he also did say that he would not allow the building of permanent structures because that's not part of EDCA.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, other issue or follow-up? Ikaw muna, other issue. Deo de Guzman to be followed by Pia and Dexter.
Sir, nabanggit niyo rin po yung LEDAC kanina. Ano po ba yung mga priority bills na natalakay at nailatag kahapon doon sa LEDAC meeting na naganap po?
Hold on. Basically, they were not discussed, no? They were just, it was like a review, sort of the presidential legislative agenda and of the congressional legislative agenda. The congressional legislative agenda has about 39 items, and the president's something like 28. And so, but one thing that's definite is that it has been agreed upon that the LEDAC will be meeting once every quarter, and it was proposed that the various committees, will be meeting once a month.
Sir, pwede niyo po ba kami mabigyan ng kahit 3 na mga priority bills po na sa tingin yung malalaki na po pwede naming malaman, na dapat naming malaman?
No. Hold on.
From the side of the Congress and from the President po sana.
Well, basically, it was a review of the past. No, it was a review of the November meet, I think. But well, for one, the possible termination of barangay elections, salary increases of the military, incentives for retirement pay of the military, and that would be for the terrorism and war on drugs, terrorism related issues, while the issues for socioeconomic agenda talks about tax reforms and fiscal incentives and so forth and so on. I think it's best that we because this was simply a big picture meeting, so I cannot really go into details.
How about death penalty, sir? Was it mentioned?
Death penalty is under the. It's part of that, but it's not. It wasn't discussed.
Okay, thank you, Deo. Ina Andolong. Last question, Ina Andolong. Sino maglalada? Pia.
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, did they mention any target deadline for when they will, when the president will certify as urgent the priority bills?
Certify as
As urgent any priority bills? Any deadline for when he hopes to certify?
There was no mention of that. However, there was a mention of regularity of meetings. So because as per, I think in the past administration, it would meet something. I think it met only twice or something like that. But this time it's going to meet more regularly. If all goes well, they'll be meeting at least 4 times this year. Aside from all the committee meetings, yes.
Then, sir, the Vice President was present at the meeting yesterday. Could
Yes,
we
she
just ask what kind of rapport she had with the President, if there was any discussion of her further participation in the administration apart from attending LEDAC meetings?
There was a discussion about that, but it was a very civil meeting.
Okay, last question, Ina Andolong.
Sir, meron po ba tayong idea on the number of Filipinos who are at risk of getting deported in the US? Because there are reports coming out na parang 300,000 daw po are at risk. Is
Yeah,
that
those are speculative numbers. I don't have but we can verify. It's also going to be discussed.
Sir, are there efforts to maybe communicate with the undocumented Filipinos there to about what they should be
Well,
doing?
as far as the president concerned, he will abide by the decision of the U.S. government, simply because that the Filipinos there ought to be well, they're all under what do you call it, U.S. law, so they should abide by. That is his position.
Okay, thank you, Ina. Thank you, Presidential Spokesperson Ernesto Abella. Thank you, Chairman Arsenio Balisacan. Thank you, Malacañang Press Corps. Back to our main studio sa Radyo ng Bayan at PTV4.